right. Hey everybody, this is Chad Jordan from Sport Clips Digital Marketing Department, and this is another edition of our Sport Clips Hall of Fame podcast. And this is going to be an exciting one for us because we get to kick off our Haircuts with Heart series for 2019, in which we're going to talk about maybe some of the charitable organizations and events that Sport Clips has partnered with over the years. And very excited because today we're going to speak about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's the St. Baldrick's Foundation, which Sport Clips is the first national partner that signed up 2016, I believe we started, and committed to over the next 3 years raising $1 million for childhood cancer research. So I'm going to have my guest introduce herself today, and then we're going to have a fun conversation. And spoiler alert, her and I go way back. So unlike when sometimes I interview people and I've just met them, the guest and I have known each other for years. So without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself for us?
Hi, my name is Kelly Mcloughlin, and yes, you're right, we do go way back via soccer with our girls.
Yep.
And now it just makes us feel old because they're
in high school.
Yeah. They were
the
in
gray hair was already
school.
making me feel old, but now the high schoolers.
It doesn't help anymore. Yeah, and I'm excited to be here today and to talk to you about St. Baldrick's Foundation because it is also near and dear to my heart to raise money for childhood cancer research. So I'm excited to be here.
So here's what I'd like to do today.
Yeah.
Because I want to touch on a couple things, why you're passionate about it, what your role is with St. Baldrick's. Some stories, some kind of maybe behind the scenes stuff, how more people can get involved, what they can do at a local level. But first, can you kind of give me the 50,000 foot view of what St. Baldrick's is and what they do on a daily and national basis?
St. Baldrick's Foundation is an organization that really inspires me because their entire goal is to help kids with cancer. And there's not any, 4% of national government funding for childhood cancer research is focused on children. So that's nice.
The rest has to be
raised privately. And so the big view of St. Baldrick's Foundation, from the way I've learned about it, is that they are really grassroots. I mean, two guys dared each other on St. Patrick's Day many years ago. I think it was 2000, the year 2000, I want to say. And they just...
Hey, that's before my kids were born, so that is many years ago to me. So.
And I think it might have a connection to 9/11, so it might be 2011, not 2000.
Okay.
But regardless, and we had friends who had a daughter who had, your friends too, a daughter who had cancer, and the community just stood behind them and raised all kinds of money and helped them, and they were so overwhelmed they wanted to find a way to give back. And I had heard about St. Baldrick's Foundation from an uncle who's about to shave for the 14th year in a row.
Oh, so he was doing it before you were involved.
And he was the one that told me about it.
Okay.
And that was kind of how I got the connection. He's been doing it that many years in Iowa. He flew out to help us put on our first one, and it was just that family's way to give back. They wanted to do something that helped other kids with cancer.
So let's, the individual you're speaking of is Lexi Brown.
Yes.
Someone who is very special to us. And we don't have clinics around, so hopefully we don't start crying thinking about her.
Yeah.
But she obviously, and the Brown family, inspired you. Can you tell us a little bit about that relationship and their support on your efforts the past few years?
Yeah. In fact, your daughter and my daughter were really good friends with Lexi because they met through soccer. And between 5th and 6th grade, they found out a bruise that they thought was from soccer was a tumor, and she had cancer. And then they were just launched into that world, and then we all, as family and friends, got launched into that world. And so when I suggested to them St. Baldrick's Foundation, a head shaving event, as a way to give back, they were all in. And so we named our event here in Santa Maria Bald for Lexi. And we're about to have our 5th shave. And she was with us for the first 2 shaves. In fact, at the very first Bald for Lexi, you were our MC, and Lexi was shaving relatives' hair and a lot of people's hair along with the professionals that day. And really my intention was to do it that first year. Like, oh, let's do this, and
so
then we'll be done.
Oh, okay. It was a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity,
Right.
and you were seizing it. It wasn't
and the
really.
and the day after, I was like, wow. I had this like light bulb moment. I was like, wait, kids still have cancer.
Right.
Like, I guess we have to do this again. Yeah. And now we're on our 5th one, and so.
And over those 5 years, do you have a rough number of how much money's been raised just in the local event, the Bald for Lexi, Brave the Shave events?
Yeah, so that first year we were clueless, we really didn't know what to do, so we thought we'll try to shave 10 heads and raise $10,000. Yep. And we shaved 33 heads and we raised $18,000, and we were just all blown away.
High-fiving, it was amazing.
Yeah, and then the next year it it went through the roof, and we had 100 shavees and $87,000 raised. So going into our 5th year, we're almost at $500,000. I think it's like 487,000 from the Santa Maria area.
Right. Yeah, our local area here.
Yeah.
And what is your role with St. Baldrick's and the local events? Because what I'm hoping is, as people are listening to this or maybe watching it on YouTube, they could be inspired to do something and contribute, whether shave their heads, which you have done before, and your daughter and your husband. And I have not, but I've been there to MC and high five the shavees.
And you've also had to talk your daughter out of shaving.
Yes, I sure did. But what is your role exactly, and can you fill me in on that?
Sure. Part of the mission of St. Baldrick's Foundation, part of their mission statement is volunteer-driven organization. Mm-hmm. It's all volunteers that put on the head shaving events. I mean, there's a few staff that are event coaches and support, but for the most part, it's all relies solely on volunteers. So my role is called VEO, which stands for Volunteer Event Organizer.
Okay.
So I'd be like the president of the club, I guess you could say. And so I've been trying to give someone else that role.
Mm-hmm. You're too good at it, so nobody wants to fill your shoes.
No one will take it, but so that's what that role is. And then there's people that sign up to be volunteers. People take all different kind of roles: barber coordinator, and then also obviously the shavees. That's where the bulk of the money gets raised.
So people sign up to be shavees. They're going to get their head shaved.
Right.
And what comes along? They're not just shaving it just so they don't have to cut their hair for a couple months. Why are they doing this, and where do the funds go and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so it's twofold. They shave to raise money for childhood cancer research and awareness, and they also do it in solidarity. Because the kids that lose their hair to chemo, they don't have a choice.
Right.
So they're going bald by choice. Yeah. And so I really love that aspect of the organization. I mean, I was nervous to shave, and on year 4 I did it because it was also Lexi's mom, Lisa. It was her first time to shave too. And we just felt like they don't have a choice. We had a choice. Mm-hmm. So we chose to go bald. And so you ask, kind of like a kid's jogathon, right? You ask friends and family to sponsor you, and you raise money. And we've had like the total individual fundraiser winner. Lisa wanted to win it last year, but I think she got beat out, right?
Yeah, I think by a kid.
Yeah, by a kid. Yeah. A cancer survivor.
Yeah, that's right.
A cute little girl named Annie that raised like $6,000-$7,000. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so people are amazing. And really, we just ask people to try to raise $100.
Okay, so that's kind of their commitment. Right.
That's their commitment. Yeah.
And how are they doing it? Are they knocking on doors, or is there a website that they use?
Yeah, so most people get their donations through website, and they spread it through social media. Mm-hmm. So they have an individual page that's created when they register. On
St. Baldrick's website?
Yeah, stbaldricks.org.
So they become a shavee.
Yeah.
And they signed up with showing their probably
before
head full of hair. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but before and after pictures.
And a little story about why they're doing it.
Yeah.
So over the years, we've had other honored kids, right? Mm-hmm. Can you tell me who they are, or a little bit of stories about them? I think Faith might have been one.
Sure, yeah. So Lexi was our, actually I was going to say Lexi was our only honored kid the first year, but she actually had met Faith in treatment, and Faith came to our first event. And so Faith DeBrum, another local girl who is a cancer survivor, has been with us. She's been an honored kid.
With the most amazing commercial on local
Blows
television right now, that it just every time you're reaching for the
clinics. Every time it comes on, you're like, oh, And then you would say, I know that girl.
Yes, exactly.
Unfortunately, there's plenty of honored kids, which is sad because every 2 minutes a child's diagnosed with cancer. Yeah. That's one of the statistics that we know all too well.
And one of the important reasons why you're doing what you're doing, why there's such a need, is because Faith is a great story.
Right.
Lexi, we wish it could have been different. Right. We wish research had been further along. We wish that the funds had been available earlier, years earlier, decades earlier, for us to be at a place where she could have been treated and walked away.
Right. Because they're trying to raise money for research for cures, but also for safer treatments. Because in many instances, the kids die from the side effects of the drugs, which are adult strength drugs. Yeah. Before they succumb to the cancer. And Lexi's was kind of a mixed thing because the side effects coupled with the cancer or why we lost her, and she had heart problems and lung problems. She had to use breathing and have medicine at all times. You remember that? Yep. And it was because of the side effects. It had damaged her heart. Yeah. So that's what the research is for, to safer treatments that are kids' strength and cures.
So what kind of training, if somebody wants to get to the level you're at, what does St. Baldrick just say, all right, sign up, here you go, and turn you loose? Or is there a little bit of educational information, all that kind of stuff that they provide you to really get the ball rolling in your local area?
Well, that first year, you basically you call them and say, I'd like to start an event. Mm-hmm. And then they guide you every step of the way. They have great, they call them our coaches, and they have great research, great assistance and resources for us. I feel so funny now that I know so much about the organization to think that I barely knew anything and put an event on. Mm-hmm. I think it's just people that care coming together, and then they give you the resources you need to make it happen.
At this point, do you partner with anyone that's a newbie, and you kind of give them, show them the ropes or anything like that? Have you ever done anything?
They have asked me to mentor, and there was a person who owned a Sport Clips, as a matter of fact, in a neighboring town that wanted to start one in their neighboring town last year. And so hopefully they're going to do that down the road. But I've offered to help mentor people, because we're really the only head shaving event. There was one at Cal Poly last year, but locally, we're the only St. Baldrick's Foundation head raising event. The nearest one is probably down Simi Valley, I think, was the closest one.
Which, for those watching and or listening across the country, is a good 2 hours from us. Yeah. So we try to get as many people around for this big event. And the one coming up, this is getting recorded in January, end of January, early February, this will be released. But the next event is March 10th, the one here locally. So let's talk about the actual event. At this point, it's not just in a parish hall,
right?
It's almost like you got to book an appointment to get in, kind of must-see event. Describe what it's evolved into for me. Obviously, I know, but paint the pic. Can you help me paint the picture for everybody out there and what it could become?
Yeah. That first time there was 33 people that shaved their heads, and we had people there. I mean, there was a nice group, but
there was plenty of seating, elbow room.
And second year, we literally were breaking fire code. I'm sure of it, because we just outgrew our event size by the second year. Yeah. And so we have Santa Maria is a great community. I'm sure these kind of communities are all over the United States, but the local Elks Lodge let us use their facility. Now we're at our third year there. And so partnerships have made us more successful. But painting the picture of how an event works is, it's a day of fun and celebration and raising money. And so at the event, we have food, we have a silent auction, prize raffle. We've done events in advance. So local businesses like a pizza place and a burger place have done Bald for Lexi nights, and we've raised money in
donated
advance.
Proceeds, and it goes
directly,
but it counts as part of that night.
Our event night. It goes towards our overall goal, and our overall goal this year is $100,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We haven't made $100,000 at one single event yet, but because we've made 78 at an event and 87, we feel we're pretty close, you know? And so
what about the news? Do you get the news camera stations out there?
The local
do you have
TV.
to invite them, or does the word just spread?
Well, we send they help. St. Baldrick's Foundation gives us press releases.
Okay.
And they have a national media person that will work with you, and they give you templates. So I send it out, you know, to the TV stations and one of the local radio stations. He's one of our MCs along with you, so we have kind of an inside track there, and so. And I think the word spreads and people repeat. So this year we'll probably have a good 30 to 40 of our shavees be fifth year.
Oh my!
They've been to every single one.
One of the boys. So they and the originals only there were about that many.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they just kept re-upping.
Yeah, Lexi's brother, Lexi's grandpa. You know, special people that care about kids with cancer, including that love Lexi too. Yeah.
And there is an affiliation with Sport Clips, the local Sport Clips here. Can you kind of describe that for me as well? This is not a plug for them. It's just a way. They're a great resource
phenomenal.
if you're going to do the Brave the Shave events.
Yeah.
Help me out.
The first year we had 3 barbers. My older daughter is a stylist, so she was one, and 2 other gals. And then the next year was the national partnership.
Right, 2016 is where that started.
And so from that moment, we've had Sport Clips stylists that come out and be our barbers. So we grew from 3 barbers the first year to 10. And last year I think we had 16 stations. And pretty much everyone's volunteering their time.
In fact, if the stage was bigger,
we
could probably have more stylists. Because it's now, I believe, at a point where all the stylists and all the Sport Clips in the surrounding counties hear about it. There's not an event maybe near them, so they want to come, and it's just so special to be a part of it.
And the owner of the local Sport Clips here, Jana, has been our barber coordinator. This will be her 3rd year, and so she's just amazing. And they all know what they're doing, and they're just so willing to give up their time. You know, some people outside of work, they don't want to do stuff they do at work, but this is a completely different, because it's such a joy to watch someone have their head shaved. I know last year when I did it, I didn't know what to expect, but it's a very empowering feeling that you're doing something for the greater good, you know? And so the stylists and Sport Clips, they did a clip-a-thon the last couple years. So on certain days, they give a percentage of their proceeds for that day to the Bald for Lexi event. And they've set it up where people can like give an extra tip. And that goes to, and last year they gave $800 toward the event. So can you walk me through your experience? You've mentioned maybe 1 or 2 times about how you got your head shaved, and for a woman that, like you said, that's it's empowering, yes, but it's also daunting. So can you walk me through? I know you were doing it in solidarity with Lisa Brown, Lexi's mom. But can you walk me through kind of the thought process, the range of emotions? Your hair's obviously grown back in the last year, but just what that was like. Interestingly enough, the first year, Lexi didn't want her mom or Mari to do it. I think she thought they would regret it, and that's what she had told her mom. But the last couple of years, each time the event came around, Lisa felt compelled to do it. And there's this group within St. Baldrick's Foundation called the 46 Mamas. Have you ever heard of them? No. So they're not really a separate nonprofit, but it's a group of cancer moms that annually have a head shaving event. And it's only moms of cancer kids that can shave their heads. And
do they go, is it a specific place, or they do it locally at their...
They have a national event each year, but there's 2 local moms, Janice Flick, whose son, can't think of his name right now, but he's one of our honored kids, Jackson. Jackson. And so
he'll be
Jackson's
one of the honored kids for this year?
I'm sure he'll be there this year. He's been there every year. He's a survivor. And then another mom, her son Sam Jeffers, so Sabrina Jeffers, they're both in the 46 Mamas organization, but they've both shaved at our events before. So they, instead of going to the national one, they've shaved at Bald for Lexi, but they're very they're very supportive of Lisa and all moms who either have a cancer survivor or have lost a child to cancer.
Yeah.
So.
And the connection for me is my brother died of leukemia when I was a kid, so I've always been sensitive to childhood cancer and the research involved. And then of course Lexi was on our soccer team when she was diagnosed, so kind of walking through the family with that. But to see them not retreat into a shell with all the grief that they're processing and having to adjust to the new normal of what their life is, but to turn around and give back. So what the 46 Mama Club is doing, and with John and Lisa Brown and others, certainly inspiring. Do you have any, and I know I'm taking up too much time, but any kind of inspiring stories or outcomes that have happened through some of these events that you'd like to share?
I would like to share one from last year. Every year I've asked the St. Baldrick's Foundation if they might be able to find or have a research doctor come speak at our event, because that's really empowering, because they're the people that receive the grants for this money that we're raising. Mm-hmm. But, most of them are in LA and big cities. But last year we had a doctor volunteer to come up. And so he arrives, and he didn't want to break confidentiality, so he didn't say anything to me. And I hadn't told Lisa and John who the doctor was. I just said a research doctor from UCLA is coming. Well, I go to introduce Dr. Chang to Lisa and John. He was one of Lexi's doctors. Oh, wow.
And they recognize that, but you hadn't known that?
Right. And they're like, yeah, we know him. And I was like, what? And he said, I didn't want to break confidentiality, but that was why he volunteered to come up. A 3-hour drive from LA.
I remember he was delayed. There was traffic issues and all that.
And he wanted to shave his head so bad that day because he had never been to a St. Baldrick's head shaving event, and he was so inspired. And he was like, but my wife isn't here. I had to check with my wife.
That's right. You got to get the
last
permission.
year he said he wanted to come back. I haven't heard yet if he's going to come this year, but he had wanted to come back this year and shave. Mm-hmm. But we let him help shave someone's head last year. But that was such a cool story.
Yeah, I remember that. I loved that and that connection. I didn't know that that part. Any other kids or stories or things that are centered around the event that you wanted to share about?
Well, we have happy and sad, right?
Yeah.
Because one year we had Brian Teixeira there.
Yes.
And the next year he was gone. He had passed away shortly before our event, and I feel like we've had, Noah Scott, a boy from Lompoc, which is a town about a half hour from here, who was at our event, and the next year not.
Yeah.
And so it's a harsh reality, and I think that's why when that first event was over in 2015, I was like,
right,
I'm done.
Yeah.
It was a good thing. We raised money. We're done. I couldn't walk away because kids are still diagnosed with cancer, and daily, every 2 minutes, we're parents, is told your kid has cancer. Yeah. Like, I just can't walk away from it now. I'm hooked.
Well, it's a calling at this point, and the way you're describing it, you're so emotionally invested in all of these lives, and then to see when there is loss and heartache. But I imagine, does that fuel you to kind of just keep going? The fact that not everybody gets cured. There's not answers for everybody.
Right.
And that is it seems to be what's inspiring at this point.
Right. And we celebrate the ones that are, like Faith and a little girl named Violet who was there last year, and Annie, who's 1 year cancer free. And we just need to be there for them,
And we're not interviewing me, so this isn't my story to tell, but at some of the events, getting to MC them, and when I remember last year there was a girl, her grandpa or somebody was shaving, and she still had to have the mask over because she couldn't really breathe what everybody else was. But seeing her grandfather get up there, tears in his eyes, she's helping shave, with the stylist, and this just the joy on the family's face at him, the grandfather, getting to participate in something that ultimately would benefit his granddaughter was precious. Yeah. So
something else that inspires me, Chad, is every year we have a handful or more of cancer survivors that choose to shave their heads.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them are kids, like
Yeah.
Annie did last year. And there's this young man named Jason Milena who's a freshman now in high school. He's shaved, he was an honored kid at our first or second event. He's shaved the last 3 years. A couple other kids who are cancer free now or in remission, who choose to shave.
It's almost like
money.
a badge of honor at that point.
Exactly.
You know, like they should be growing their hair back and loving it, and instead they're identifying with kind of their brothers and sisters who are still fighting. And that if you're listening or watching this and you've never done a Brave the Shave event, you got to get to at least one.
Yeah.
You'll become like Kelly probably and get hooked. But the amount of good that can happen in really one evening.
Yeah, a couple hours.
Yeah.
And even if someone doesn't, they just should come check it out and experience it. It's really a joyful celebration of life.
Yeah.
And you don't have to shave your head. You can come. You can support by donating. You can buy the food, which we get donated, so we're making money. Everything we do that day and sell that day goes towards our goal. And it's just a really beautiful couple hours, isn't it?
It's fun. It is a party.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not morbid to say that.
No.
We are celebrating life,
right,
and victory and survivors and those that have fought, and people like Lexi.
Yeah, Lexi's motto was "Fight like a girl,"
yeah.
And we say it every time that, and her parents know that she wouldn't be too happy if we stopped trying.
Well, it's funny. I can't see anything that's purple without thinking of Lexi. And my daughter's high school team is purple,
yeah.
purple and gold. So of course that memory lives on.
Yeah.
But so inspired by St. Baldrick's, Kelly, by you and what you're doing. I knew we had to get you on this podcast because we're going to start interviewing some more St. Baldrick's folks as the year progresses. But since you're local and a friend, I figured we could ease into the St. Baldrick's conversations, and we will have the CEO of St. Baldrick's on a future podcast, some honored kids. We're going to interview them and their families.
That's so awesome. You're going to meet some honored kids. I'm definitely going to be inspired.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So, but thank you so much for joining us. And we will put pictures, links to St. Baldrick's, but I want pictures of some of the events that we've done.
Yeah.
But also, Sport Clips did a Brave the Shave at a national convention.
I remember.
I think it was the most ever in the state of Texas.
You were going for like a Guinness record.
We were going for a Guinness record of most ever, but I think it was most ever indoors or
simultaneously.
Most ever. Yeah, all at the same time. Yeah. So I can't remember the number, but I'll put some pictures on the podcast page for that event as well, because they are one of our favorites, and we're proud to support them and be partners with them. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody. All right, look at 27 minutes.
It felt like it was I was like, we're a little short. It felt like maybe 15 minutes.
No,
I was like, what
fine.
else can I say?
No, you're great. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be good. To put some pictures up.
Yeah.
There's some really cute pictures.
I've got one. It's been a Facebook cover photo of mine where Lexi's standing and talking, and I'm behind.
Yes,
like at the podium.
That was at the first year.
Yeah, I don't know if I was praying or what I was doing, but I have a personal one. But if you've got any, and if we could show Lexi, I don't know if Lisa and John
would you rather have them emailed or text pictures?
Email's fine.
Okay, I'll email them to you.
That'd be great.
Because